Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. You know what time it is. Our first bit of NHL 25 information is out there, and we're going to get right down to business in terms of talking about all of it, as if the reveal trailer didn't leak a few days ago, of course. Now, first things first, right out in the open here, right? Despite my affiliation with EA, despite knowing literally everything there is to know currently about NHL 25, I am not allowed to talk about basically anything that they themselves haven't mentioned so far, thanks to a lovely thing called an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. If I were to tell you everything, they would sue the ass off of me. They would literally earn the right in a court of law to take a saw to my entire ass, and they would take it back with them to EA Burnaby. From there, who the hell knows? I know that's a hell of a visual. So we're not admittedly going to be able to talk about too much, right? And that's just kind of how these things work. A lot of these videos are about the impressions, the ad revenue, and just getting eyes on your channel. You know, that's what these are for most of us content creators, right? That's pretty much what it is. And again, I'll be open and honest with you, but I will talk as much about what I know and what I can talk about here over the next couple of minutes. So most of you have probably seen this page already. Most of you have probably seen the trailer. If you haven't, the link's in the description. I'm not going to go frame by frame on the trailer because admittedly, again, it leaked. So you guys have probably seen it already. And in terms of going frame by frame, I don't think there's too much to really talk about that we can't just discuss from here. First and foremost, the release date of October 4th, unless, of course, you pre-order where you get 7 days early access. I mean, it used to be, I swear it used to be like 24 hours or something, and then it was 3 days, and now apparently it's a whole week, which is kind of nuts. And of course, you get all the Ultimate Team stuff and the World of Shell stuff, whatever. If you're a casual player, probably don't feel the need to get it 7 days early. You know, if you're not a big Ultimate Team person or anything like that, I don't think there's going to be anything in the game necessarily that's going to warrant you getting it 7 days early, unless you care about Ultimate Team or unless you care about the World of Shell Battle Pass stuff. So keep that in mind. But of course, if you are going to get the game, the big change, I would say, for this game is the fact that it is now NextGen Only, meaning Xbox Series consoles and PS5. Whether or not we're going to see the full fruits of that change for NHL 25, not entirely sure. But it is a promising sign that you have had a game now come out like College Football 25 that was next-gen only. This game's going to be next-gen only. It helps a lot in terms of what dev teams are typically able to accomplish, especially too when you're talking about the EA NHL series. And when we talk about the features here at the bottom, the EA NHL team, it's a smaller team, less resources overall compared to a college football, compared to a Madden. You know, it's very beneficial for them to not have to go through and maintain a PS4 and an Xbox One version of the game. That's just a fact. Like, despite the fact that it might seem like, oh, they can just copy and paste it over, there is maintenance involved that is a pain and very, very time consuming. So on one hand, it's very, very nice that it's next gen only. Obviously, it'll affect some people. On the other, with that information, did they add enough to kind of warrant hype and excitement about NHL 25? Let's talk about these features that are there. Let's talk about the IceQ thing first. Now, mainly, this term is a marketing term, right? The whole IceQ thing, it's one of those buzz terms that you always see from sports games every single year. It doesn't matter if it's a San Diego Studios with MLB, NBA 2K, or the variety of EA sports games that come out every single year, right? It is a marketing term. It is a buzz term. And the reason why it's there is because some of the other changes that it encapsulates under the system aren't exactly big, you know, back of the box features that would absolutely sell a hockey game. What this entails is a change to vision control in the offensive zone. Of course, if you've played the game at any time over the past 10 years or so, you'll know that L skating or L2 skating, left trigger skating, was a thing in the offensive zone that would create some kind of unrealistic elements to the game, but would also create a bit of a skill gap. They've changed that now so that when you L skate in the offensive zone, your player with the puck is always facing the goal. It helps create different angles when getting set up for shots, especially at the blue line and being able to walk the blue line a little bit more properly now. It's honestly probably my favorite gameplay feature of this game right now, is just that ability to create different angles on shots. Might it make deflections a little bit more powerful than they already were? Maybe, because in theory, you're going to be able to get more shots to the net unless the defense does really, really well. It makes me wonder, especially for the competitive scene, EASHL-wise, I don't think it's going to take us out of the collapse meta in front of a human goalie, for example. So while I think it's going to be a good change in some elements, some regards, some modes, it might not have the best effect for others. Time will tell when it comes to that. One of the other elements in terms of this change is skill-based one-timers. Now, I do think it accomplishes its goal of, again, having the timing be involved, getting rewarded for having better timing. From my experiences, though, maybe it's just because I was never someone who was, passing and then immediately spamming up on the right stick to get a one-timer off. I don't notice too much of a change because I pretty much always, in my time with the game, have gotten the more accurate feedback and, the reward to the shot in terms of power and speed. So I don't know if this will be a gigantic change in terms of it making that much of a difference with people's gameplay, depending on what your timing was like with one-timers in the first place. And then the other two elements have to do with more animations being added to the game and AI changes. And I can only be upfront and honest with you guys, right? Despite the old saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That would be a little bit disingenuous to just be like, hey, they said those things are in. From my experiences with the game, and again, it's not the final version of the game or anything like that, so it could change. I haven't seen enough to say these are the big changes to the AI that we've been waiting for. I have still seen some problematic aspects on both sides of the puck, really in all three zones, in terms of what the AI does, how they go about things, and still not necessarily understanding all of the tools in their arsenal. Over the past couple of years, we've seen the additions of X factors, especially something like the skilled up X factor, thanks to the emergence of the Michigan move being that much more prominent. I have never seen the AI do a Michigan in the NHL series. And so far, from what I've seen in NHL 25, they still don't understand their entire toolbox and their entire arsenal, especially on the offensive side of things. So I think this is one of the elements where, again, in the past, I think NHL 10 back of the box says, AI improvements and stuff like that. It's much easier to say it's part of IceQ than to be like, yep, here are all the AI changes. It's so good, we need to throw it out there in your face. Do I think it's getting better? Yes. Do I think it's anywhere near where people want it to be? No. But I also don't think it'll ever be there. I think that is just kind of a reality that I'm warming up to when it comes to AI in these sports games. No one's particularly happy with the AI in FC. No one's particularly happy with the AI in NBA. People aren't happy with the AI in Madden or college football all the time either, and NHL seemingly looks like it'll be no different. So there's some good stuff involved with the whole IceQ feature set, if you want to call it that. But do I think this is necessarily going to revolutionize the way EA NHL is played and stuff like that? I'm not going to go that far, right? And I can only be honest with you guys. In terms of the presentation, they mentioned the Grudge Match system, which keeps track of your competitive history between teams in EASHL. I don't remember if that works in HUT as well or not. I believe it is just ESHL. It might be Ultimate Team as well. I believe, actually, no, it works in offline modes as well. I'm pretty sure in franchise. Essentially, the idea is the more history you have with the team, it's going to track that history and kind of add that element to it, which is nice, right? It's nice. It's nothing crazy, right? But, you'll get those presentation elements and the in-game tracking if you keep running into the same team in the ASHL, which, might not always be the nice thing either. I could see the negative side where people are just like, oh, cool, I'm always running into the same team. What, is nobody playing this game anymore? Is nobody online right now aside from us two? I haven't seen too much of it in the works for anything offline or anything like that, but not a bad idea. But again, not also something that you're going to look at and be like, oh my God, where was this feature my entire life? We'll skip over this for the moment, because that's obviously what I'll be able to talk about the most. In terms of anything Ultimate Team related, gotta be honest, again, I don't play Ultimate Team anymore. From the outside looking in, all XP being on a one-track single progression path sounds nice, but if you want to know more about the Ultimate Team side of things, No Sleeves, Thrash, Dino Krista, Poles, Eki, there are plenty. I think I said Poles as opposed to Polgs. It's early. Sun's coming up, shining right off the almost bald head. There are plenty of content creators out there that focus on Ultimate Team stuff right here on YouTube, of course on Twitch as well. Check them all out. They'll have more information for you there. In terms of this here, live events for World of Chill, they haven't unveiled too much about that yet, so I can't talk about it, right? Revamped franchise mode experience. This is why I am making this video, and I'm so sorry that I buried the lead 10 minutes or so into this, right? But hey, here we are now. I cannot talk about this much at all. At all. But what I can mention, and that you'll see mentioned elsewhere, they have redesigned the menus for franchise mode. It is much more streamlined, much more information just right there available to you. The navigation, much more smooth. All of that is nice, right? You are not going to have as much time getting buried in the menus and navigating and going here and then going back over there. It's a lot easier to get to everything, which is nice, right? So in terms of the UI improvements, they are there. Aside from that, I can't say too much, which sucks. But hey, sweet, sweet ad revenue and impressions for uploading this. But what I can tell you guys is that there are some changes coming to franchise mode that people have been asking for a long time. Temper your expectations, right? Temper those expectations a little bit. I know it sucks when somebody has to be vague. And I know it's very easy to be like, oh, it's GM connected, or oh, it's cross-platform roster sharing, and then it's this, and it's this, and it's this. Because there's a lot that people have wanted, myself included, for franchise mode over the years. A lot. We are getting some of it. Some of it. Tempered expectations. I'm sorry I can't say too much, but make sure to like and subscribe. Because that's the whole point of videos like this. But of course, the second I can tell you guys more information about franchise mode, especially, we'll be here. They're going to be getting into the deep dives over the next couple of weeks. We'll be here when those are being talked about, because again, we're about a month away from the game coming out, given the 7-day early access. So we'll be here. We'll be talking about things. NHL 25, when it comes to this game at a type level, right? Because 24, they got me. I bought in to, man, I think this could be a great year. And then admittedly, it didn't live up to the hype, right? Flat out, didn't live up to the hype. I thought franchise mode was a bit disappointing in terms of the way some of the things were supposed to work. I thought their provided rosters were pretty rough. I thought some of the in-game stuff, like the pressure system and stuff like that, could have worked, but maybe didn't, based on how people actually play the game. Like a good idea in theory, but not so much. NHL 25, for me, is okay. It's okay. I don't think this is the game that people have necessarily been waiting for. I think, unfortunately, we're still very much stuck in the Madden-like approach of step in the right direction, although I think there's a little bit more validity to that than what Madden's had going on over the last 5-10 years, kind of the same time frame that people have viewed the NHL games as going downhill. It's been a very similar picture with Madden. If you have liked the direction of the NHL games over the past couple of years, I think you'll like NHL 25. If you are somebody who has viewed this game as a 5 out of 10 or lower, I don't think this is the game that's going to hook you and have you be super hyped and right back into this franchise and to be addicted to it or anything like that. It is very much along the lines of what they've been putting out there. And for me, because I can only speak to me, there are some elements about their path that they've been on that I like. There are other elements that I am disappointed by. Because of that, I have a feeling NHL 25 will be a little bit more of the same. I'll still be playing franchise mode and stuff like that on Twitch. It'll end up here on YouTube after the fact, of course. But I also can't lie to you guys. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, this is on pace to be the best hockey game ever. Because based off of what people typically view as the best hockey games ever, people bring up NHL 14 all the time. I'll mention NHL 04 and 2K10 all the time. Is this going to be there? I personally don't think so. But that's just one opinion, right? So there's that. The honesty from the streamer, the content creator that you were looking for. Anyway, did I mention like and subscribe? You should do that, by the way. I'm live on Twitch every single night, twitch.tv/Dougie24. And I think that's it. I've been bald. I'll see you next time.